Hey everyone, Corey here, coming in to do the year-end energy update forecast reading for those born under the sign of Sagittarius. Now, this is a kind of, how do I put it? It's kind of like a kind of collective or add-on to what the 2024 energy update previously that was recorded in the beginning of the year. It is to be a kind of a complete set of that. So if you have not listened to or watched that video, go back and listen to the Sagittarius 2024 if you have time, and it will be like an add-on to this one here as well. So please remember, this does not replace any medical psychological advice that you've been given. This is to be taken as entertainment. But for those born under the Sagittarius energy, the sun sign, and if you're cross-watching or you're watching because of your ascendant or your moon and it resonates, then take it. But so yesterday I came in to record, and the moment I sat down to record, I had this overwhelming sense of, almost felt like a grief. Like I really had to get up and walk away. Now I'm recording this during the new moon, during the full moon in Pisces energy. And that is a water sign, of course, and the fish swims this way and that way. So things get kind of all over the place. But it was also the energy of the lunar eclipse. And I just recognized that there was something of the darker aspects of self. And that is we all have the qualities of darkness within us. We don't get to of our own darkness. Doesn't mean it's cruel or mean, but we all have the capability to be unkind, to be disrespectful, to be forgetful, neglect the emotions or the needs of other people sometimes. And so that was really, truly coming up in the Sagittarius energy. And it was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to face this. I don't want to go there. And I had to get up and walk away. And I'm chuckling because I can feel that energy of, I don't want to. And I really get that to be in the Sagittarian energy. So there's areas during this phase that we're coming in through that's going to be leading you all the way into, I want to say, for the next few weeks, of where, there's areas where maybe you do need to look a little bit deeper, that you've always not, I don't want to do that. And not saying you have to. Sometimes we have to become the person we need to be to deal with different areas in our lives. But this feels like something that many are ready to do. And then so it's the area of life, or the places of life of where we don't dare go. We don't dare even let the light in. We don't face that part of self. So now I'm really picking this up coming in through moon phases, though. So I think this is something tied to between this full moon energy on September the 17th and 18th, and coming up and into the next full moon. So I feel like this is a cycle or a period of time of where it's like, we really want to look at this aspect of self and see this aspect of self, because it is going to bring in, letting light into the dark kind of removes the things that grow in the dark. Remember, mold grows in the dark, moist, damp areas. But love still grows in the dark. And so there is love in there, and there is light in there. And sometimes we don't realize that we actually love ourselves more than we think we do, or more than we say we do. Because if you didn't love yourself, you wouldn't have spent so much time in your life trying to protect yourself, trying to defend yourself, trying to keep yourself, charging forward, making sure that your needs were met. So, we have so many half-hearted truths. So there is the aspect of self that loves you more than you could imagine. Sometimes that is actually in the darker aspects of self. And to be able to listen to it, give it an opportunity, give that self an opportunity to speak, we find that it has grievances, and it gets angry because it is sad. Resentment comes from anger. Anger comes from the sad, right? And so what makes us sad? What makes us feel left out? And so if you sit and listen to your sad and not really try to stop it from being a victim to its own narrative, its own story, then maybe you're going to hear and discover something about yourself that you didn't know before, that you just didn't recognize before, that you didn't understand before, or that you didn't know actually bothered you more than you thought it did. And sometimes you're trying to ignore the things that bother you, and you're trying to say, well, no, I can't be that. Other people are not that. Somebody else is not that. So I can't be that. But maybe you are that. Maybe you are the things that you don't want to be. And sometimes it's like it's a radical self-acceptance that we have those aspects of ourselves. It's just where we allow it to really truly to have a place where it gets to fit, but it doesn't get to fully take a full space in our lives. So there's a lot of kind of spiritual growth, an aspect of emotional growth, emotional intelligence that is speaking to you from this energy. And it's almost like if we could just get to this area, if we can just get to this point. I don't want to. So there's a lot of I don't want to, and some of them is a hard no, and others are it's an aspect of being able to know that the power of your yeses is coming because you have said no long enough, that you said no, 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 and now it's become a yes, and it's become no because before you weren't ready for certain things. So there's new either opportunities, ideas, or new thoughts that are coming up, new possibilities that you once said no to, that something has changed that you may now say yes to. And that sometimes that's not a step back. Sometimes that's a step forward, but it feels like it's a step back. And the reason why it feels like a step back, because some of it looks similar to what was a past experience, but what is different is the version of you, and the experience is different. So the environment might look similar, it might look the same as the past, but nothing of it is actually the same, because you're not the same, the faces are not the same, the experience is not the same. You can never have the same experience twice. We don't get to experience the same thing twice. We experience it once. The next time we experience it's a little different. It's like having sex. You may get the same satisfaction out of the sex, but the experience is never the same. Ever. Truth. It's the same thing with anything in life. That's why people get disappointed and let down and feel discouraged, is because they put an expectation that something is going to be the same, and it's going to be the same. It's like not seeing somebody after a long period of time. It's not going to be the same because it's not meant to be the same. It's meant to be different. And when we can embody the difference, when we can embody the unexpected, we will not try to control things. We will kind of learn from experiences. We become more open. So a part of you, for you, Sagittarius, is really letting go of those old obstacles that your mind places in a way of allowing something to happen that feels like it would have happened before, but it didn't. Something that has the same kind of similarity, but not quite the same. It is different. Everything about it is different. So you may be saying no to things that you always said, I will never do that again. But you're not doing that thing again. You're doing something that is different, but maybe using the skill set or the knowing or the knowledge that you would have previously used, that you would have brought forward, because all of the wisdom that we have, all of the knowing we have is always given to us so that it can help serve our future. And as we become more of ourselves, more of our truest of self, the self that steps in and uses those tools and utilizes that part of self becomes something very different. Nothing is the same. So there's areas of life where there may be opportunities or experiences where if you allow your need to be strong-willed to quickly shut something down, you may turn down an opportunity that could be not a permanent opportunity, but an opportunity to really have an experience, and not to let yourself miss out on experiences, or to shut down experiences because it's not as exciting as it once was, or because it's not the same as it once was. Nothing is ever, ever the same. Nothing. Not your days, not who you are. That version of you from yesterday is now gone. That version of you from 5 hours ago is now gone. The version of you who hit play on listening to this video, by the time you get to the end, that version is now gone. And so we're always moving. We're always like sloughing off of layers of skin, right? We're sloughing off and we're moving through, because we're always moving through energy. And so energy is, we use the term so lightly, it's just energy and everything's all the same in energy. No, it's not. There's always something different about it. What's the same is the source. The source is the same. So the source is always the same. And the source is the essence of the divine, the God consciousness, the God, the whatever you call it, creator, whatever that is, that source, that power source, that stays the same. Not even your soul stays the same. So as you evolve, as you grow, as you learn to open up those aspects within, as those petals open up in those energy centers, and it reveals new truths to you, is as you grow, the soul grows. The soul gets to kind of have a celebration, an evolution of self that is happening. And so there is something of our character that is innate. Like there's characteristic traits that are innate. What do we know to be absolutely true about ourselves? What do we know to be true about the self that is our power statement? And do you know that about self? Or are you so busy being wishy-washy in not knowing and trying to keep reinventing everything about self, that there is these aspects of self that you forget that may be needed in a lot of different experiences? What you bring to the table is often the innate aspects of self that are needed for a soul's journey. And it's not just your soul's journey. You may be planted somewhere where you are needed for a purpose. You may just be there temporary, but it's a purpose. There's a reason why you're there. There's a reason why that is happening. There's a reason why you're being moved in that direction. But if we can only focus on what happened in the past, we'll never let ourselves sometimes get into those positions. And so we have this happening in the Sagittarius energy. And a lot of time, I know this is a long part of the video, but I feel like this is kind of in many areas in life, between relationship, between job opportunities, between personal growth, business, all of the areas, spiritual, emotional, mental. It is everywhere right now. And it feels like it's really trying to lock in on the Sagittarius to keep your eyes open, your mind open, and your heart open, and truly just trust this inner self to really guide you as you move forward into the end of this year and moving forward into 2025. Now, I do also pick up in here a major like transition and some major shifts and changes. And I feel like there's areas of life of where you may be called upon to be of service, to guide, to help somebody who's going through challenges in their lives, and you may be called upon to help them. But I also see your personal life having some real big changes, some real big movements that is happening. And there are things that changes the projection of life, but there's also areas where things that you thought were going to go a certain way are not going to go the way you thought they were going to go. Something is kind of not blocking the way, but kind of redirecting. So there's a redirection coming up for some of the Sagittarius, and being okay sometimes with just knowing that we can take the detour, and it's better than falling in the hole, right? It's better than falling in or getting caught up in something. That sometimes we take the detour, we're being divinely directed so that we don't have to go in through and get stuck and trapped in an energy or in a situation that's not for us. So there is some detours that are coming up for the Sagittarius energy. Now, the other thing that I'm picking up for Sagittarius as we move forward is I get there's like some announcements being made, and some may be a little bit unexpected. And you're like, oh, well, that would never happen to me, or that would never happen in our family. No, we would never do that. Or no, we would never. Never say never is really, truly a theme that is coming up in the Sagittarius for this next part. Never say never. Never say never, because there is something of the unexpected that is coming up, and it could be the announcement of a baby that you weren't expecting. It could be returning to something you never thought you'd return to. It could be that person coming into your life that you said you'd never marry again or never have a relationship again, but you fall back in the love. It could be something that is maybe you had all these plans that your budget was only going to be like this, and then something comes that's a little bit out of your budget, but you know that it truly is something that it just fits. It fits, and you're just going to have to say yes to what just fits. And it feels like all these pieces that are like, there's like pieces of the puzzle for Sagittarius, and all these pieces of the puzzles are all moving about and moving around. And it's like, we got to make things fit. And so things are beginning to come together, but pieces are sometimes not fitting where you thought they should go. Well, that looks like it belongs there. Well, maybe it doesn't belong there anymore. So what once belonged maybe doesn't belong anymore. What once could fit into your life maybe doesn't fit into your life no more. What once was a group of people who you believe you may be getting back with or getting involved with again, maybe it doesn't fit no more. Maybe it doesn't work anymore. But then there is some reunions that I see. So I see some reunions also coming up, and you're having some sort of reunion, a come together. I feel like there's a family gathering for something very specific. Like for some of you, I feel like you're coming together, a family gathering for either a celebration. It could be a celebration of something new, or it could be a celebration of an ending. But there is endings and beginnings all over the place, which is going to be the follow through all the way into 2025 for my Sagittarius. But for this very end, this last quarter mile, never say never is what I'm getting for you. So really paying attention to the areas of where you're so quick and easy to shut things down, but don't be so quick to shut things down. Don't be so quick to be opinionated. Don't be so quick to really truly judge something based on the past. Let yourself sometimes step into the experience and remember that every experience is brand new. Like I said, I just feel like there is places where you need to be, but there's also some real simplicity. Even though it's a very busy time, it just feels like there is some simplicity if you just sit in the energy and let yourself be moved by the experiences and move through the experiences. There is some pot of gold energy here for you. I feel like this is a real pot of gold moment and pot of gold experiences, but also knowing that you exist in the fates of others, and others are having to come through their new beginnings and their endings and their changes. And you may be a part of having to be in that experience with other people. And it's not it's your new experience, but it is them that has to really truly go through. I feel like they really travel through that dark night, or that hero's journey, or that fight for something, or that kind of really truly finding their way to finally stepping up. And you happen to be able to embrace that, to enjoy that, to be a part of that. And it just feels kind of like there is some magic in here, and it feels like there's a little bit of magic, but really expect the unexpected and don't be afraid of the unexpected. And it's really going to be great lessons in the power of letting go of the power of surrender, and the power of letting go of control. And sometimes you got to let go of that mindset that we get ourselves stuck in, that's all we're doing. We're not going any further than this. We're not doing any more than this. This is our limits. But sometimes we got to break our own rules. So I feel like you may need to break your own rules, break your own plans, break up some of those thoughts in your head that you're trying to control and manipulate, to sometimes just let the magic in. And when there's a beautiful opportunity or beautiful moment that you just can't say no to, you have to say yes to it. I send you so much love. Have a beautiful end of the year.
This is from September all the way into the end of December, beginning of January. Send you much love. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.